What's up, everybody? This is Dominic D'Angelo of OneTrueSport.com. I'm also of RVDTV.com, and we are live on both channels, and we're also live on RVD's Twitter. So, guys, we hope to get a great audience here, and we are back. Fonzie is back for Right Down the Middle, episode 4, I think it is. I think this is our 4th one, Fonzie. It's good
episode
to have you back.
4, Daddy.
Yeah, it's good to have you back. How was your vacation?
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me on the podcast, and thanks for everybody who's been supporting us. We're getting good feedback. We're starting to get a good following. We had thousands one of the times. That was flattering, and thanks to everybody. And you guys send in the questions because I got 44 years of being on the road, so I got a lot of stories, Daddy.
Absolutely. And Fonzie, the game plan is, I had a good idea, is if you guys want, we're going to do a little giveaway. So what the game plan will be is that if you use the super chat, you'll automatically be entered into the giveaway to win that sweet, here, I'm going to pop it up here, to win that sweet ECW tracksuit. Look at that thing. That is, so those come sweatpants and hoodie, right, Fonzie?
Correct.
So if you,
ECW,
all you have,
yeah,
look at that.
RVD, Sabu Fonzie, Hardcore Legends Tour.
Heck yeah. So, guys, if you want to enter to be entered into the contest to get that, just put in a super chat. This might be over two episodes that we'll do it. So, if you put in a super chat, you automatically be entered. And at the end of when we do the episode, a couple episodes down the line, we'll announce a winner for that. So
yeah, absolutely. Now we're continuing to give away stuff like 8x10s, and we're giving some cool stuff, some Fonzie merch, and I got some hats coming out and all kind of cool stuff. But yeah, I love giving stuff away.
Absolutely. And guys, if you did happen to do this, enter to the contest for when we did it last time with the 8x10s, I got to go back and look and see what exactly happened so I can make sure I get the right people lined up for that. So I'll keep you in the loop with all that stuff. But just it's been a good time. How was your vacation, Fonzie?
Oh my goodness, I left on I don't know what day, like the 12th or 13th last month, and I flew from Tampa to Zurich, Switzerland. Had a cool time. Flew from Zurich to Barcelona, Spain, which was one of my favorite places. Then I went to my beautiful, tall, blonde Hungarian wife. Her and I went to Cannes, where they had the big film festival. Tom Cruise and everybody just left. I just missed them by that much. Then we stopped in multiple cities in Italy, and I seen the Colosseum, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, some all kind of churches that were 1,000 years old. My God, Michelangelo built this bridge. We seen some cool stuff. It was fantastic. The food was unbelievable, and I really enjoyed myself.
What was your favorite stop that you went to when you were over there? Like city
I like Barcelona because the food was just unbelievable. We went to this open air market, man, and the fruit and veg, it was just sensational. And they had all kind of cheeses and cappuccino. My God, I'll tell you about the cappuccino in a second. All kind of stuff, and I was eating oysters. They were shucking them right there. My God, it was so just beautiful. And I'll tell you where we had our cappuccino at was this town in Italy. It's the oldest. It's where they invented the cappuccino over 250 years ago. What happened was the Pope would tax a cup of coffee. You know, there were taxes on everything, so he taxed a cup of coffee. So you drink your regular cup of coffee, it's big like this, right? So how they got around the bigger tax is they made a little stronger, little shot of coffee, so there was less tax, less coffee. So that's how the cappuccino came about.
What? No way.
Yeah, 250 years ago. It's a pretty cool story. And we, my wife and I, had a cappuccino at the original place where they invented the tax. They tried to get around the taxation of the larger cup of coffee, and they did. And now it's spread worldwide. Everybody likes the cappuccinos.
Wow. How about that, man? You educated me on something I didn't know.
Pretty cool stuff, man.
That's pretty awesome. Now, obviously, you're Italian, right? Alfonso, right?
No, I'm Cuban. My father was Cuban, and my mother's Hungarian.
Whoa, no way.
So
Okay.
that's where I get the dark skin from, and I get the brown hair. Now it's grayish. But my mom was real light skin, Hungarian, blonde hair, beautiful. She looked like Shasha Gabor.
Wow.
Beautiful. My dad looked like Ricky Ricardo.
Ricky Ricardo. Heck yeah.
Yeah, so I'm that combination from the Alfonso.
That's awesome. Because I was going to ask where in Italy where you're from, but you're not Italian. So.
I know, but I felt right at home. But it was really cool. We fit right in, and we didn't. I didn't feel so much touristy. You know, I was more. We met a lot. Well, we met a lot of people from all over the world. So that's the gathering place for people from all over the world. We were at the airport, and my goodness, all the cities are where, you know, usually you see Denver, Los Angeles, New York, Kansas City. In this place, we were seeing worldwide stuff. South Africa. Oh my God, it was. You knew you were international.
Holy smokes!
It was
That's
pretty
awesome.
cool.
That's all. I have not been overseas ever yet, so it's obviously on my bucket list. I want to go.
Oh yeah, I suggest you go. You know, you'll love it. You'll love it. And fly business class.
Okay, I'll keep that in mind too.
Yeah, first is a little expensive, and coach is a little cramped. I would have went coach, but we went business, you know, and my wife and I. So that was only a couple $100 more, but it was well worth it because it's a 9-hour flight from Tampa to Zurich.
Really?
Yeah, and then a 2-hour flight to Barcelona, and then you're right there. You're right in the center of everything, France, and boom.
Did you guys rent a car, or did you take train, or what did you do?
No, we got picked up. We had private people picking us up and taking us on tours, guided, a tour guide. We were on a ship. We jumped on a ship, cruise line, top of the line, fucking beautiful. We had a beautiful suite. We went from port to port on the ship, then we get off. And we had people picking us up like in golf buggies or in a cab or whatever. They took us to all the famous spots. That's how I know so much about the bridge and this church and that church and the Cappuccino and all kinds of Michelangelo and all that kind of stuff.
That's awesome, man.
And Cons was pretty cool.
Oh, I believe that.
I loved it.
Yeah, I could imagine that. That's fantastic. Man, I'm happy for you too. I need to.
Thank you.
You're giving me the itch to go. I got to do it at some point.
We deserve it. I'll be 67 next month, August 11th. Don't forget to wish me a happy birthday. And the other superstar, Hulk Hogan. You guys remember Hulk Hogan?
I don't remember that guy.
But his birthday, our birthday's on August 11th. Both of our birthdays, August 11th. He's a couple of years older than me. And we both broke in Florida. We're two Florida kids. We grew up in Tampa Bay. He broke in Florida Championship Wrestling with Gordon Soley, Hiro Matsuda, and Dusty and all them. And so did I. So we got so much in common. And we both just, we're both cool guys.
Well, when was your first meeting with Hulk Hogan? When did you end up meeting him for the first time?
Well, we kind of knew of each other because we came from the same school. We came from not school, but we came from the same territory, Florida Championship Wrestling. So we knew of each other. And I met him in the early 80s when he was doing tours and stuff and coming in and I would run into each other. Because remember, in 1980, I was full-time from Florida with Dusty and Gordon Soley. So I was already, in the business. And so was Hogan. He broke in a few years before me. And I was on tour with him. I worked with him in WWF.
Mm-hmm.
So we came pretty close. In fact, I got a picture out here somewhere of us at the London Heathrow Airport. His arm around me. We got the whole tour. We went to 5 countries and 7 cities in 7 days. All sellout crowds, all big buildings. 2 shows in England, 2 shows in Germany, France, Edinburgh, Scotland, and we were 5 countries. It was pretty cool. And he treated me like $1 million. Hogan's really cool. He might be Trump's running mate. Who knows?
Oh my God! Could you imagine that?
He was on CNN the other night, and he might be vice president.
Vice president? Could you imagine Vice President Hulk Hogan? Holy smokes!
Yeah, I'm asking for a job, Daddy.
Yeah, you'll be a part of the cabinet.
Yeah, put me in the committee for the boys club or something.
The Secretary of State, Bill Alfonso.
And I'll be good at it too. I'm good with the people. People
yes,
like
you
me.
are.
I'm good with the people, so I can generate something.
Absolutely.
And call it right down the middle.
You do. That's it. Yeah, you'll reach across the aisle and call right down the middle.
Yeah.
Fonzie, what when you met Hogan early on, did you think he would be as big as a star as he ended up being at that point in time?
Well,
Or
nobody knows how big you're going to get, but Hulk Hogan's certainly the biggest name in the sports entertainment, wrestling industry in history. So my wife's a nurse, and say I'm going to give you an example of how big Hulk Hogan is, and he's the biggest. And no, of course I didn't know how big he was going to get, but I knew he was going to be somebody.
right.
Because he just had the personality, and he had the, he was a size, good-looking kid who had the big guns and all that. I knew he was going to be somebody because the way he acted and carried himself, and he was cool to everybody. And you can't be an asshole in this business. Even if you're a superstar, you won't last. So Hogan's real politically correct, and he's a good guy to have on your team. So what was I going to say about? What was the question?
Well, like, did you see his star power to that level? But you knew he was going to be somebody.
I knew he was going to be somebody, but I didn't know he was going to be this big, the biggest name. So I'm going to give you an example of how I use his name. So my wife's a nurse. She's, really, she's been in the business a long time. And say we get invited to a Christmas party, and there's a lot of medical people there. There's doctors and lawyers and all kinds of people. Everybody's dressed nice and everybody's chatty. There's a Christmas party. And eventually they get to me and, oh, Fonzie, well, what do you do for a living? And I don't want to say Russ. I say, well, I'm in the sports entertainment business. And they say, sports entertainment business? What's that? And I say, one name. Hulk Hogan. Then they get it. I can't say Ric Flair. I can't say Sting. I can't say Lex Luger. I can't say Rob Van Dam because they're not a household name. Hulk Hogan is. Everybody knows Hulk Hogan. So I say, yeah, sports entertainment. Hulk Hogan. So they know what I do, and they get it every time right away.
Right. Yeah. Hogan's
the biggest name. Nobody's bigger than Hogan. Nobody.
No, And
I love Flair and RVD and all those guys, but they're not as big as Hulk Hogan.
No, there's that level. I mean, I always say Scott Hall is my all-time favorite wrestler, and like he got me
another Tampa kid.
Yeah, another Tampa kid. He's my all-time favorite. But Hogan, if I'm being honest, when I was 5 years old, he's the one that got me interested in wrestling in the first place. He was the guy, and that's for a lot of people. There's no denying that,
Yeah, if you're not a wrestling fan, if you're a wrestling fan, you know who Jimmy Fly and Scott Hall and RVD and Sting and Luger, all those guys. But if you're not a wrestling fan, you're going to know the name Hulk Hogan.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, we got an interesting show today because we're going to talk about another big star, literally a big star in Giant Gonzalez.
A huge star.
Huge star.
Oh, since we're going to, let me show you a quick pic. Since we're talking about Hogan
yes,
and Giant Gonzalez, El Gigante, you remember Hogan's TV series, Thunder in Paradise, was filmed here in Tampa Bay.
That's right.
He had the big boat, and Jack Lemon's son, Chris Lemon, was his co-star, and Carol Auld, who loved me, by the way, she was, in the thing, and so... And they, in one of the episodes, they wanted Giant Gonzalez to come play a bad guy in one of the episodes. And
yeah.
So we did, and here's a pic of, this is on the set of Thunder in Paradise with, he sees all dressed up as guerrilla warfare. And then Hogan, we took this picture, and Hogan's not a small guy.
No.
I'm 5'9", almost. So take a look at this picture of the size difference.
Look at that. That's so crazy. Look how big Giant Gonzalez is. That's so crazy.
Right? It's crazy. He was the tallest athlete on the planet at that time when I worked for him. I was his personal assistant for 3 years. Wow. And I'll tell you how that came about as soon as we get rolling.
Absolutely. First, I wanted to start off talking about you are still a busy man in the pro wrestling business. And
I work every weekend.
Every weekend. And in a little over a week away, on July 12th, you're going to be back in the MLW fold for Blood and Thunder, their upcoming event here, and in Tampa Bay at that great venue too, that the Coliseum.
Oh, it's a great venue.
Awesome venue.
Coliseum, famous. It's been around a long time. It's not a $20,000 seat arena. It's a small, compact, 4,000 or 5,000 holds. It's perfect for MLW. Oh my goodness! In fact, ECW ran there. We did quite well. We sold it out multiple times. And I'm there with Matthew Justice, MLW. I signed a 3-day contract with them, and I think they want to sign me for some more shows. And I like Court Bowers. I like the way he runs things. It's a hell of a company, man. They're doing really well, and they put out a good product. And for some reason, I fit right in because I worked with Matthew Justice in Cleveland for John Thorne, AIW. They put us together for a couple years, and we were on top doing fantastic things and for AIW. So I got a good history with Matthew Justice. He's badass. He's hardcore. And on July 12th in St. Petersburg at the Coliseum, MLW, man, we're going to have a hell of a show for you.
Absolutely. Matthew Justice is such a I've said this before on the show, but I think he fits right in the fold of a Sabu, RVD, and like him pairing up with you is such a cool, neat thing because it kind of carries on that legacy that
we fit together fantastic. You know that John Thorne thought immediately when he called me up to bring me in, he thought immediately to put me with Matthew in their work. Bam. And I tell Matthew all the time he's known for taking these big, crazy bumps and having these real hardcore matches and jumping off of balconies and getting busted open and stuff. I said, brother, you don't have to do that 5 times or 6 times in a match. Come on, Matthew, slow down a little bit. And he doesn't. I said, look, Sabu's done that his whole career, and he's having trouble walking sometimes. Sabu's in good shape, but he could be in better shape. I said, you know, he's having trouble getting out of bed sometimes. Aches and pains. He needs a plastic hip, shoulders. I said, Matthew, you're, in your 30s. You're going to need freaking take it easy, kid. And he won't. He gives it 110%. When you see Matthew Justice's name on the card, you better go see him because he's badass. And if you love hardcore excitement and the blood and guts and tables and chairs and lions and tigers and bears, go see Matthew Justice. And you'll see me too.
Yeah, absolutely. And like he's got that good connection. Like he's got a good charisma, a good presence, and
he's a good-looking kid.
Good looking dude, like built, well built, everything.
Yeah.
And I think
he's beautiful. I love him.
I do. Like for his sake, I hope he picks and chooses his big moments to make it those extreme moments because you want to see him flourish more so in the business and have a long lasting.
Yeah, I think he's gotten it now. I think when I first met him 4 years ago, I've been working for John Thorne out of Cleveland for right before the pandemic started. So that's over 4 years ago. And so I've known Matthew, and he's had slowed down a bit and got more because he knows that if he goes, it's hard. The problem is there's hundreds and hundreds of guys, but there's only small limited contracts being handed out by WWE and AEW. That's where you're going to make your money. But if you're a liability, if you go in there with a broken body and you're taking all these crazy things and you're limping, they don't want you. You're a liability. They want guys that can go. And Matt figured that out. He can still go. He still looks good. He's got a long career ahead of him. But man, he is one tough guy.
He's a tough cookie, man. We should get him on as a guest here at some point. I think would be fun.
Oh yeah, we'll have him as a guest.
Yeah. That'd be awesome.
I'll see him in 2 weeks.
Heck yeah.
He'll probably stay in my home. I have a beautiful suite for him, and I've invited you to come down when you're in Tampa Bay. I want you to come stay with me for a couple of days.
Absolutely.
Got a beautiful suite. I got a beautiful place right in Tampa Bay. You'll love it.
I would love it. I would absolutely love it.
We got pro football. We got baseball. We got hockey. Hell of a hockey team. We got NBA right down the street, 80 miles in Orlando. We got the beaches. We got Hulk Hogan's Paradise's shop and his thing. He has karaoke every Monday night. We got the finest restaurants in the world right here in Tampa Bay.
Oh, man.
Sunshine year round.
I love it. I got to, when I was down there for Royal Rumble, covering Royal Rumble, that was the first time I was down there in St. Pete. and Tampa. And I love St. Pete. It's such a cool little city area and stuff like that. It feels like a South Pittsburgh almost. That's what I kind of
vibe. I was born and raised here, so I'm lucky. I was born right in here in Tampa.
Man. Yeah, you are lucky. That's awesome.
66, be 67 years, August 11th.
Yeah. Oh man, that's awesome. Jeez, that's great. Yeah. Hulk Hogan's my dad's age too, by the way. They're the same age.
I think he'll be 71 or 72.
71. He'll be 71. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was 3 or 4 years older than me.
Yeah.
Exactly. 4 years older than me. Exactly to the day.
How about that? That's crazy. How about that? Both Tampa guys.
Yeah.
So before we get to the topic at hand, wanted to ask you too about a guy in the news that got in the news, Too Cold Scorpio, and what happened with him. And I wanted to get your perspective on that. Obviously, you work with him plenty of times and everything like that. And you guys are good friends. So I wanted to get your perspective on that, Fonzie.
In fact, with Scorpios this Friday, I'm flying into Philadelphia. I'm doing a show at the ECW Arena Saturday. And so I'm flying in Friday. We're having a big dinner at Todd Gordon's house, one of my best friends in the business. Sandman, Todd Gordon, Fonzie, and Too Cold Scorpio. And of course, Todd's wife and maybe a couple other people. We're getting together for a little celebration. Then Saturday afternoon, we're going to there's a wrestling store on South Street in Philadelphia. It's easy to find on social media. It'll be Sandman, Too Cold, Todd Gordon, and Fonzie signing and, at the wrestling store. And then I have a show that Saturday night. So I'll see Scorpio. He had an unfortunate incident, Scorp is a licensed security. He's a licensed security agent, and he's licensed to carry a gun. He's licensed to carry a billy club. He's licensed to do this. He's licensed to do that. He had to go through all kind of hoops to get his thing, and now he's been doing that for a long time, and he does really well at it. He's very good. So some character who just got, I don't want to elaborate too much, but I'll just give you a little bit. Some character, some big MMA guy, big guy, just got kicked out of a casino. Got kicked out of the casino, and he ended up in the establishment where Scorpio was being a security guard that night in some type of store or whatever. So the guy comes in the store, and he lights a cigarette. It's Scorpio's job. He's a security. Hey, you can't smoke a cigarette. And the guy gets cocky, and Scorpio thought he was going to, attack him, and he was, and they got into a big altercation. The guy ended up getting stabbed a few times, and Scorpio got arrested. But charges are going to be dropped, I'm pretty sure, but he's got to go through some hoops, some legal matters. Scorpio's a great guy. He's a licensed security, licensed to carry a gun, licensed to do this, licensed to do that, defended himself. So we'll let the justice work it out, and I don't think there's going to be a big problem for Scorpio. But he did get arrested, damn it, and it kind of pissed me off that he got, they took him off a couple of shows. They took him off of a show because he got arrested. They took him off a show he was on in Japan, and they took him off of that till he gets his name cleared back, and which is going to be no problem. But it's hassle. Damn it, Scorpio. I feel terrible for you because of the incident, but he did the right thing. He protected himself. This guy was way out of line, and who knows? This guy might have, who knows what this guy was capable of.
That's it, man. It's like
Scorpio put him in his place.
Right, and you were telling me off air how tough of a guy Scorpio is, much like RVD. And
Scorpio is a tough, badass guy. If I ever got in a fight with 10 guys, I would want Scorpio on my side. He is badass. And for him to get in an altercation and have to use some type of instrument to, so the other guy was very intimidating, I guess. I haven't seen a picture of him, but, the MMA guy or whatever. But for Scorpio to, defend himself in the way he did, well, that's what happened.
That's it. So if you're getting put in a situation like that, and like you don't know what a guy is capable of, and you have to you got to defend yourself. That's it. That's the
So if anybody in Philadelphia area, come see me, Sandman, Scorpio, and Todd Gordon at the wrestling store on South Street in the afternoon. You can find it on the internet. Not hard to find. It's right on South Street. It's like 2 blocks from Jim's.
Jim Steaks.
Yes,
I love Jim's Steaks.
that is my favorite place to have Phillies.
That's my favorite cheesesteak, I think. Fonzie.
Yeah, now they got them at the airport. I just was there Sunday flying back. I was last Sunday. I was in Indianapolis where the Colts played.
Oh,
And I was with Sandman, Francine, and Shane Douglas. We did a 2-day tour, went around, and we did really well. We did a big show there. And so on the way back, I had to go from Indy to Philly to Tampa. And of course, they got a Pat's, a Geno's, and Jim's on South Street in the airport now.
what? That's crazy.
Yeah. So I had a 2-hour layover. So of course I bypassed Pat's and all that. I went right to Jim's. But the problem is, in the airport, the steaks are $19.
Oh yeah. You
but
can't.
Well worth it. But still $19. You know this. But you know, I ate 2 of them.
Did you get it with or without?
I get it with provolone.
Do you? That's what I do too.
Yeah, I don't like the cheese whiz. Todd
I don't like the cheese
bears and loves the cheese. That cheese melted yellow stuff. I do not like.
No.
You know, not for me. I get my little provolone with a splash of mayonnaise, and I'm happy as hell.
Yes, you can't beat that. No doubt about that.
Yeah, I ate 2 of them.
Oh man. Okay, so guys, the store that you want to go to in Philadelphia is Suplex Vintage Wrestling on South Street.
That's it, Daddy. Yes, we're going to be there Saturday afternoon. Scorpio. We got a lot of recognition in the last few days. Any publicity is good publicity, but you know, so Scorpio, Sandman, my dear friend Sandman, Todd Ward, the founder of ECW, my goodness, and me, Bill Fonzie, Alfonso, we're going to be there signing stuff and giving stuff away. So come check us out. We're raising money for Scorpio's defense attorney.
So what day is that again, Fonzie? What day? Just
This Saturday.
This Saturday. So that is...
So it'll be the 6th.
Yes, the 6th, July 6th.
Yeah.
If you're in Philadelphia, go and check it out. It looks like an awesome store. I've never been. That must be new.
And if you say, hey, I was listening to you guys on the podcast, that's why I'm here, I'll give you a free 8x10.
There you go, guys. So, yeah, tell them the right down the middle sent you here.
Yes. If you say that, come up to me and say that, I'll give you a free 8x10, a badass picture. And, of course, you can buy something from the other guys. Buy a pig for Scorpio. We're raising money. But you get an 8x10 comp for me.
There you go.
A good one, too. Maybe one like this.
Ooh, maybe something like that. Heck yeah.
All kind of cool picks.
No doubt. Guys, too, if you're just tuning in, you can see the little ticker tape down there below. If you use the super chat, you'll enter to win ECW, RVD, and Fonzie tracksuit. It looks awesome, and Fonzie is willing to give it away to anybody that uses the super chat over the next 2 episodes that we do. So get your super chats in there. We already got One True Sport member Liam Evans already did. He's asking a question. We'll be sure to ask that during the Gonzalez talk. And then we got Eddie Prather, also a One True Sport member. So he's looking forward to the Gonzalez talk too. So both of those guys entered. And if you want to enter to win that, use the super chat and you'll automatically be entered to win that. We'll announce the winner within the month, because we do these every 2 weeks. So probably the 3rd episode that we do after this, we'll announce the winner on that. So, but get your super chats in, ask a question at the same time, and you can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. You enter into the contest, and you get a question to ask to Fonzie. So, be happy to do that. What else do I want to talk about here? There's something else I thought. Maybe not. But we got a lot to talk about when it comes to Giant Gonzalez, Fonzie. I'm excited to get your perspective on him. Like I said, today we're talking about Giant Gonzalez and El Gigante. Jorge Gonzalez was born in 1966 and got his start in professional wrestling after being signed on by Ted Turner to play basketball for the Atlanta Hawks. But it didn't work out. A natural fit as an attraction in the industry. When did you first meet Gonzalez, Fonzie, and how did you guys hit it off immediately? Did you hit it off immediately?
It was like we met in, I think it was 91, where we did that big show in Japan, Fujinami and Ric Flair, 65,000 people at the Tokyo Dome. I refereed the main event and also refereed Giant Gonzalez against Curtis Hughes. Remember Curtis Hughes?
Oh, yeah.
Big kid, fucking badass.
Yep.
They had a match and I refereed it, and Giant Gonzalez fell in love with me. In Japan, and especially a big show, like the Tokyo Dome, there was 65,000 paid people to watch Flair and Fujinami, and I refereed the main event. Of course, I got lucky. And so there's a lot of photographers at the ring, and ringside, there's like not two photographers. It's not like Bill Apter and George taking pictures. I mean, there's 15, 20, 25 photographers shooting for all kind of Japanese magazines and all kind of stuff. So after Curtis Hughes got beat by Giant Gonzalez 1, 2, 3, I raised Giant Gonzalez's hand, and boy, this photographer started shooting pictures. So I said, let me get his size over. So I jumped on the second turnbuckle and called Giant Gonzalez over, and I got his hand up, and they start taking pictures, and Giant Gonzalez started walking away, and I pulled him back and said, stay right here. So they must have shot 20 or 30 different, 40 or 50 different pictures of us standing, and they made the cover of the largest sports magazine in Japan. That picture right there, this is the sports magazine in Japan, made the cover.
That's awesome.
I emphasized the size by jumping on the second rope, and the photographers loved it. And of course, for some reason, it made the cover of the magazine. That was the first time I met him.
Wow.
I met Giant Gonzalez that day in Japan. We flew over from Atlanta to Tokyo together with me and Sting. There was a host of guys. There was, the Steiners and Flair and Curtis Hughes and the Steiner boys and a couple other people. All big names. Orrin Anderson, Barry Windham, and I got an 8x10 somewhere of all of us. So I did something for Gonzalez that week that we spent together. I did something like, the old story where the mouse pulls the splinter out of the tiger's paw.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They become best friends.
Yes.
I forgot exactly what I did for Gonzalez, but I got him out of a little jam. I did something for him to make his life easier instantly. And we hit it off, not so much because of that. We just hit it off. Mm-hmm. We became inseparable. And in fact, I wasn't working for WCW. I didn't have a contract yet. So after that night, I did so well in the main event, Fujinami and Ric Flair. And then I made the cover of the magazine, and I did this. And Dusty called me aside. He says, Fonzie, it's going to happen for you, baby. You know how Dusty talks. Fonzie, it's going to happen for you, baby. I'm going to have Jody Hamilton call you. And Jody Hamilton called me when we got back, and I flew to Atlanta, and I got a 6-figure contract with being a referee for Ted Turner for WCW because of Dusty. I love Dusty, and I worked with him in Florida from 1980 until the territory closed, and I was out of work for about 3 or 4 months. I didn't want to work. I just had to work 10 years every freaking night for 10 years without hardly any time off. So I was taking a couple of months off. Then I was going to try and call Dusty and get in WCW, but he called me. They called me to referee the main event in Tokyo, and then they offered me the contract, and I signed, of course. And then Giant Gonzalez signed too. But here's the deal. Giant Gonzalez, I met him in Japan. We worked on that same show, and I did, I pulled the splinter out of the mouse, pulled the splinter out of the tiger's paw, and they became best friends. So Dusty saw that, and Dusty said, Fonzie, baby, you're my number one referee in Florida, and I want you to be my number one referee in WCW too, but I got something to ask you, baby. I want you to be the personal assistant for Giant Gonzalez, the largest athlete on the planet at that time. The other guy who wasn't really playing yet was Ming. He played for Houston, played for the Rockets, the big Chinese kid.
Oh, yeah, Yao Ming.
Yeah, he was as tall as Gonzalez, but he wasn't around yet. So Gonzalez was actually at that time the tallest athlete on the planet. Nobody as tall as Giant Gonzalez. And Dusty asked me to be his personal assistant. And of course I said yes. And Giant Gonzalez was thrilled because we already were kind of good friends and we became best friends. We really rode together every day for 3 years. We didn't leave each other's side. and did really well together. Worked for WCW, went to Vince, did WrestleMania 9. Let's see, where's that WrestleMania 9
Oh,
right
you got it right
here?
on your other side there. Yep.
Yeah, WrestleMania 9, Dad, Caesar's Palace. There he is.
Oh,
And
there
one
it
of the
is.
main events against The Undertaker. And look who's calling it right down the middle, Daddy. That would be Fonzie. Here he is with Tatanka. He had a match with Tatanka. Remember the Tatanka, the big famous
Oh yeah.
Indian?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Beautiful. Worked for, and of course, I'm refereeing the match. But so we got along really good, really well. And they didn't have to pay me extra. Dusty said, we're going to pay you extra on top of your small six-figure contract for refereeing. Ted Turner, you get paid pretty good. Turner, you're the big, did you know Turner is the largest bison owner on the planet? Nobody owns more bison than Ted Turner.
Seriously, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a big bison farm.
What?
And he owns Atlanta Hawks, he owns CNN, he owns this, he owns CBS, he owns that, he owns all kinds of, one of the richest, top 100 richest people in the world. Anyway, So he pays well. So Dusty said, we're going to pay you extra for taking care of the Giant, And I would have done it. I thought it was a privilege to be traveling with the Giant. Me and him, the largest athlete on the planet. They put me with him, and we got along good. And, man, that was pretty cool. And so I got a bonus for doing that. I got paid extra for doing that, which they didn't have to. I would have paid them to let me be with the Giant. We got all kind of perks and extra things. Movies we did. I was on the set. Baywatch with Pamela Anderson. They wanted Giant Gonzalez to be on that, and they flew us both out. And I'm playing volleyball on the beach, and Giant Gonzalez has an actual part in the show and the episode. I know I'm just playing volleyball, but I'm in the background. Thunder in Paradise with Hulk Hogan, on his television series. So all kind of perks. So I get a call one day. My cell phone rings, and I'm working for Ted Turner. And I answer the phone and said, hello. He said, Fonzie? I said, yeah. He said, Ted Turner. I thought it was a rib.
Yeah.
I told this story to you. I thought it was a rib. Ted Turner. I said, hello, Mr. Turner. Call me Ted. Hey, Ted, how you doing? And I thought it was one of the boys, but eventually I knew it was Ted Turner. He said, I got a favor to ask you. I said, yes, sir. I'll ask away. He said, well, the Atlanta Braves are doing really good. They're winning World Series. They won 2-3 World Series in a row. And he said, I would like you to go take Giant Gonzalez, because he knew I was Giant Gonzalez's personal assistant, He said, I would like you to take Giant Gonzalez to one of our baseball games, and I want you to sit in my suite where me and Jimmy Carter would sit and watch the ball game. But me and Jimmy won't be there, but I want you guys sitting there, and I want the camera to pan over and say, oh my God, look, there's the largest athlete on the planet. The Braves are bringing out everybody, including the largest athlete on the planet. And it doesn't say, and Fonzie too. I just happen to be sitting next to him, but they don't mention my name. But that was pretty cool. So perks like that, We go to a restaurant and you'd order a couple of steaks and, and the managers were amazed at, how many, we never asked for nothing. We were making good money. We wanted to pay our way, but hell, if the manager of a steakhouse is going to come for your dinner, why are you going to say no?
Why not?
Or take a picture with them. We got so many perks like that. It was crazy. So many cool things. And the women loved them. Oh, my God. And I'm not talking about girls at the arena, not the wrestling fan girls that are kind of hang out with the boys. They like the guys. I mean, him and I would go into like the Mall of America. And we'll be walking around. We'd have housewife, because he was a tall, good-looking Spanish kid. He didn't have, he had the Giants disease. There's a name for it, Gargantism or whatever it is. And it makes your jaw protrude and your bones grow and your forehead big and your odd shape, your face structure, your body starts changing. He didn't have that yet. So he was just big. He didn't have that Giants disease full-fledged yet. So he was a really good-looking kid, long hair, beautiful, and the women loved him. So we'd go to the mall. We'd have housewives follow. They were curious, and he was charming. He charmed the pants right off them, and he did.
Oh,
he did. I'm not talking about wrestling groupies. I'm talking about housewives and different people, not wrestling girls.
Yeah.
So I got a story about that. I don't know if I can talk about it, but I'm married now. But something happened. If you're interested in hearing like a crazy story.
Well, yeah. So that's actually in the notes. I hear. So we have what is it here? Yeah, you told the fun story about having to be the opening act for.
Okay, let me tell the story.
Okay, tell the story.
So my job, um, Dusty hired me to be the assistant for the largest athlete on the planet, and we traveled together. He didn't. Uh, it wasn't demanding, but it was my job, and we wouldn't have ever split a room. We'd say at the Marriott, I'd be in 601, he'd be in 602. I'd be right next to him, in case he needed something. So it'd be usual for me to get a phone call at 2 o'clock in the morning, and he said, "Hey, Fonzie, I'm sorry, but I'm a little hungry. Would you mind?" I said, "What do you want, Giant? You name anything on the planet, I'm going to find it for you."
Yeah.
That's my job. You go get him a hamburger, 6 hamburgers or a steak or whatever you want. It's my job. And I get paid for it. Plus, I enjoy doing stuff like that for him. So I get a phone call. And I said, "Hey, Giant, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. What do you want, Daddy? 6 hamburgers?" He said, "No, I want you to come to my room." I said, "Okay." I'm 602 and he's in 603. So I walk right to his room. I knock on the door and he opens the door. He's naked. "Well, you answered the door naked." He opens the door a little more, and there's the girl that we met at the mall earlier. She looked like, since I mentioned Pamela Anderson earlier, because we did wear a Baywatch, she looked like Pamela Anderson. She was blonde hair, a fantastic body, and she waved to me, "Hey, Fonzie." And I said, "Well, what can I do for you guys?" He said, "We got a problem." I said, "What, John? What possibly problem can you have? You got a beautiful girl there." And he says, "Well, listen, my dick is fat like that, and I can't get it inside her. I want you to jump on her, warm her up for me, then you leave." And now I'm turning red. I'm embarrassed. But then I felt okay because the girl said, "Please help us, Fonzie. Please, can you mind coming over here and doing me for a couple minutes?" And, why couldn't he? Anyway, so my job that night was not to go get the largest athlete on the planet a hamburger. My job was to warm up a beautiful Pamela Anderson lookalike blonde begging me to jump on her to warm her up for the Giant Gonzalez. And that's what happened. And he never forgot. He thanked me all that. "Oh, remember, Fonzie, when he warmed up the girl?" That was only a one-time deal. That wasn't very unusual. I've got plenty of phone calls where he says, "Fonzie, go give me 6 eggs scrambled with 8 pieces of bacon and 3 pieces of toast and hash brown." So I get phone calls like that all the time, but not too many phone calls where I had to warm up a beautiful girl that we met in the mall.
How about that, man? That's some great personal assistance right there.
Story, right?
Yeah, that's you are quite the personal assistant.
How many people can say they warm up a girl for the largest athlete on the planet?
That's it.
I can.
You can. You got it. That's awesome. Well, so before we dive deep into a little bit more about Giant and his career, you stated on a previous podcast that the BBC was interested in interviewing about his career and being his handler. Any updates on that, those talks, and we could see a potential documentary going on?
Yeah, I did. I did the BBC.
Yeah.
I did the BBC, and it went fantastic. And I think it already aired or something. I've done so many interviews in the last. I don't know why I'm not in demand, but fucking.
You've been all over though, Fonzie.
For some reason, I've been around a long time, and they like me. For some reason, they want to do interviews with me. In fact, we talked about MLW and them coming to Tampa. They're doing a show at the Coliseum in Tampa. And one of the sports writers for one of the largest newspapers in Florida, the Tampa Times, they got over 1.5 million subscribers to their paper. So they called me and said, "Hey, Fonzie, my name's Paul Portagato, and I'm the sports editor for the Tampa sports section of the Tampa newspaper. Would you be interested in doing an article with us? We'll put it in a newspaper, and you're a Florida kid, you work for Eddie Graham and this and that. So I did a over the phone interview with the sports editor for the newspaper, and they asked me about my career, how I got started, and Tampa kid, and I mentioned how I got started and who I worked for and this and that. They want to know my injuries and they want to know where I've been and so on and so on. And they said, "Oh, you got a show coming up in Tampa." And they let me talk about that. They interviewed my neighbors, my childhood neighbors growing up. They interviewed Court Bowers, who runs and is the CEO of MLW, and Barry Rose is a big promoter here. He runs wrestling cons all the time, and they did a big article on me in the Tampa newspaper, and they didn't just put a little picture there. They put a huge picture of me in the MLW gear, and they talked about Fonzie still bleeds after 45 years, and they talked about all my things, and they talked about the MLW show. So it's going to do big business. I predict a sellout. So if you guys are interested, please come and check in. There's tickets left. It's not this weekend. I'm in Philadelphia, but the following weekend, July 12th, it's a Friday in St. Pete at the Coliseum Historical Building. You guys know it. We ran ECW there. We should sell it out. There's still seats available. Come check us out. Because I know we're going to have a big crowd. Not because of me in the article, but that sure helps. Sensational matches lined up. My God, Matthew Justice, my boy Matthew Justice, is in one of the main events, and it's a weird type of match.
It's a 3 stages of destruction match.
Yes, the first one to bleed, the first one to get carried out in an ambulance, or the first one or something. I quit. It's going to be freaking crazy. So there's going to be blood, sweat, and tears, and I hope the blood's not mine.
That's it. You're still bleeding, though. That's what the article says, at least.
Yeah, got a great write-up, and Court Bowers loved it, So I don't know how I do it, but I'm still relevant today, Dominic, for some reason.
That's it. But you got that connected personality, Fonzie. That's what it is. That's
what they said in the newspaper. That's what my I'd love to read it to you, but it's a huge article, so I don't, it'll take 20 minutes to read it.
I wonder if it's online. I wonder if we can read it online.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes, it sure is. It's TampaBayTimes.com.
All right. I have to take a look.
And it's easy to find. Just put Bill Alfonso article, and it'll pop right up. TampaBay.com, Times newspaper. Tampa Times newspaper, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. It came out online first because the newspaper doesn't come out every day like it used to years ago.
Right.
Comes out 2 or 3 times a week. Comes out on this day, comes out on Wednesday, which is today. That's why I have it sitting right here. I went and bought 3 copies. They said they were going to send me a bunch of copies, but I went out and bought a few, and just so I can have, how people like collect shit. My wife said,
yeah.
"Oh, you need more shit like you need a hole in your head."
I know. I'm the same way, Fonzie. I'm the same way. I got too much shit in here.
1980, 1980. But
look at that. What's that one?
American Dream, Dusty Baby.
Dusty Baby.
I love it. I got stuff from years ago, letters from fans from 1981 thanking me for taking time out to sign his daughter's in a wheelchair. I go way out of my way for the fans, and I love it. That's my job. I'm a good PR guy.
Yeah, you are.
Somebody that's has any type of disability and comes to the show, and I really put those guys over and get them backstage insurance, whatever. That's just make. And I'm not trying to buy my way to heaven. It's just the right thing to do.
It is, yeah. You're a great guy, Fonzie. It's been cool to do this show.
I'm okay.
You're okay.
I got my bad moments too.
Well, I think what we'll do is we got a good amount of notes. So what we're going to do is we'll cover Giant Gonzalez's time in WCW. And then the next episode, what we'll do is cover his time in the WWF. So,
okay.
So guys, if you are just tuning in, whether it's on Twitter or you're tuning in on RVDTV.com or you're tuning in on OneTrueSportTV.com, use the super chat. It automatically enters you into a contest to win an ECW tracksuit featuring Fonzie, RVD, and Sabu on it. We want to give it away. Fonzie's all about doing giveaways with the fans and stuff like that. and he wanted to do this. So check it out here. I'll get a little click in and zoom on there. But yeah, all you have to do is use the super chat, and that automatically enters you into the contest to win that sweet tracksuit. It's got the sweatpants, it's got the hoodie. It looks awesome. I would definitely wear that, no doubt about it. So guys, that could be yours too. Just use the super chat.
It's beautiful. It's not a Nike. I have Nike stuff, but this is a beautiful.
That looks great. Either way, it looks great. So guys, definitely use the super chat and get the word out, and then ask a question while you're at it too, and we'll be happy to answer it. Fonzie will be happy to answer it for you. So a lot of good stuff going on here. But let's from WCW. What was the locker room perception of El Gigante coming in at the time when Andre the Giant was just wrapping up his full-time run in the World Wrestling Federation? Was his signing viewed as a victory, even though it was known from the onset that working with him in the ring would have been a little tough? Were there individuals willing to try to squeeze the diamond out of the coat? Was it like out of the coal? Was it like how was he?
Giant Gonzalez was so amazing to be around and so big and so unusual that everybody took a liking to him, and we wanted him to succeed. And he wasn't, he wasn't a natural. He was a natural athlete because he played basketball in Europe, played European basketball, and he was really good. They brought him over to play for the Atlanta Hawks. You got to be pretty fucking good for them to consider to bring you over from Europe to come play NBA basketball. You got to be pretty fucking good, and he was. It wasn't just his size. But he couldn't pass the NBA inspection because his knees were starting to give out a little bit. And he said, unfortunately, Giant Gonzalez, we can't use you in the NBA, but Ted Turner also owns this, he owns that, he owns a thing called wrestling company. And Giant Gonzalez said, wrestling? What's that? Never heard of it, never seen it. So we trained them. They said, don't worry. They paid them to train, and they trained him for about 7 or 8 months to learn how to wrestle and learn how to be a giant. And, of course, he's not going to do sunset flips and regular stuff. He's going to do giant stuff, giant things. Speaking of giants, here's some black and white. This is how long I've been around this. Black and white pictures of me refereeing Andre the Giant's matches.
Wow, look at that.
He stepped on my foot in 1982 and it still hurts today.
I believe it.
That's a true story. He cracked my bone, that top bone in my right foot, and about once or twice a year, my foot swells up. I thought it was the gout, because I'm getting older and I drank and I eat steaks and all that. I thought I had the gout or something. Went to the doctor and he said, no, you got a hairline fracture and it didn't heal properly. That's why it swells up here. That's from Andre the Giant. So that's a true story. Giant stepped on my foot in 1982 and it still hurts. Great story. But
that's crazy.
So they trained Giant Gonzalez, and when he was ready, they put his outfit on and called him Giant Gonzalez. I mean, El Gigante. Called him El Gigante. And he was so amazing that people wanted to see him succeed. So they would go out of our way, even though he wasn't a natural in the ring, but he kind of got it. And they weren't asking him to do stuff, regular stuff. They asked him to throw him into the big foot or put the claw on him or choke slam somebody or, body slam, but no normal shit. So he did, 8 or 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 things, and that's all he had to do. His size got him over. So we went out of our way. Everybody in the locker room, from the referees to all the wrestlers to the agents, went out of the way to help this guy succeed. And he did pretty damn good. Even though he wasn't fantastic in the ring, he didn't have to be. His size is what got him over.
That's what does it exactly. He had a presence about it, and it's cool he had a good personality and everything like that, huh? So
he was great. Yeah, people loved him. He was a joker. He was he was smart. He was witty. He was handsome. He was polite. He was debonair. He dressed nice, and people liked him. Like when I first met him, we got along. Boom, we were naturals together. We just loved each other. He's a very likable guy. The women liked him, the wrestlers liked him, everybody liked him.
Well, did his signing come out of the time when Ric Flair still had the book in WCW? Who were some of his biggest advocates behind the scenes for him, like wanting to see him succeed? Did he have some guys?
Everybody wanted to see him succeed.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they knew he wasn't going to be Andre the Giant, and they knew he was only going to be around for limited time, because he was starting to have health issues after about a year in business. He became diabetic, not a heavy diabetic, but we had to watch his blood sugar, and then had to take medicine for diabetes, and his joints start hurting him, and the Giant's disease started taking over a little more and more. His joints were having problems, so we knew he wasn't long for the wrestling business. So we're going to get out of him what we could for the next 3 years. So he was in the business 3 years. He lasted 3 years and got out by choice. He could have stayed another 4 or 5 years, but he said, I made enough money. Turner paid me really well. He was very frugal with his money, not cheap, like, he would buy my lunch but smart with his money. So he made enough money to go home. He said, okay, Fonzie, I'm going to wrap it up, and I'm going to go home and spend the rest of my life because I'm not going to live long. Andre the Giant died at the age of 43 or 47. He said, I'm going to die the same. That was heartbreaking when the Giant told me, Fonzie, I'm going to die soon. The Giants don't live long. And it used to fucking kill me. Still to this day, if I think about the day he told me that, I could start crying. But it's hard, God bless him. But people were on his side. We knew we didn't have him for a long time in the wrestling business, so we're going to take advantage of having the largest athlete on the planet in the ring. And he did quite well. Well, look, Vince McMahon liked him well enough to put him in WrestleMania 9 in one of the main events against The Undertaker. And, of course, I called it right down the middle. WrestleMania 9, that's the biggest platform on the planet. What's bigger than WrestleMania?
Right. Yeah, that's exactly it.
So for him to be, he was good enough to work with The Undertaker. They didn't have a barn burner match like Flair and Jerry Lynn, but they had a hell of a little thing, good enough for WrestleMania 9.
Absolutely. As you're working with him in WCW, did you have an itch to be his manager at the time?
No, because they just brought me in the referee, and I was in. I had no desire to be a manager. I just wanted to keep working and be a referee,
Yeah.
And the referee and the managing part came in with Paul Heyman, my dear friend Paul. You see him up there somewhere?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Paul Heyman. That didn't come into play until I went to ECW, and I came in as a referee. I just left WWF, and they brought me in because Vince McMahon wanted the doctor, his wife, and the 2 kids at ringside. ECW was 90% male from the age of 19 to 32. Violent, blood, sweat, and tears, and tables, and thumbtacks, and shit. So they brought me in to be anti-ECW since I came from WWF. They wanted me to try to turn ECW to WWF family entertainment. People wanted to fucking kill me. So my original deal was I signed a 4-week contract with Paul Heyman. Said, for 4 weeks, will you be anti-ECW? 911 and choke slam me, and you're done. Thank you, Fonzie. But people started hating me. My gimmick got so over that Paul Heyman said, Fonzie, we're going to turn you into a manager. And they put me with Taz, and then they put me with Van Dam and Sabu. I was there, did 22 pay-per-views and on top for the whole time I was there.
ECW. Rest of history. Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I had desire to be, and I would have, but it might have backfired. I don't know what would have happened. It might have backfired, but I think I was better at refereeing because I would help. I was in the ring with them, and I could help them in the ring more than I could as manager on the floor. I'd have to yell, hey, get him in the choke slam, grab a hold. I would walk him through his matches. He would ask me, Fonzie, what do I do next? Say, oh, grab him, and stuff. I would help him get through the match. So I was better off being a referee. And I enjoyed it.
That's a great
work with tons of people, not just one guy. I got to work with anybody you can name, from Bam Bam Bigelow to Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect, to Scott, you name it, and I've worked with them.
we'll definitely have to cover those in future episodes, no doubt. Oh man, that's awesome. That's a great perspective too, helping them
Here's
out.
a WCW picture for Ted Turner, me, and Giant Gonzalez. I'm all
Nice.
suited up. We're at a convention. Or we might have been in Japan doing some PR work. So that's
good.
WCW.
Heck yeah. What was your overall perception of WCW at the time, Fonzie?
I thought it was great because you remember that it was I just had worked from 1980 and I worked in territories. Florida was a territory, Mid Atlantic was Jim Crockett was a territory, Bill Watts was in Louisiana, Texas was the Von Erichs and Joe Blanchard, Tully Blanchard's dad, and the Funks. Oregon was Don Owens, and Minnesota was this guy, and Michigan was all kind of different territories. So the territories were closing up, and there was the big two, WWF and WCW. And oh my God, for me to get accepted to go work for WCW, Ted Turner, 605 on TBS, are you kidding me? I thought it was fantastic. And Dusty was in charge. I just had work with Dusty. I was Dusty's left-hand man in Florida. I was one of his personal assistants in Florida. Was referee. He called me his number one referee. Loved me because I worked hard. And I thought WC was sensational. Man, we had big names there from Flair to Sting to Barry Windham. All the guys, Steiners, everybody you can think of came through there. Double A, Ordonez, who I just saw recently at a big convention. I see a lot of the guys, which is thrilling for me to see guys that I worked with for the last 40 years. In fact, I'm going to Cauliflower Alley, where Van Damme and Sabu lives in Las Vegas, and I'm getting an award. I'm getting accepted in the Cauliflower Alley Lifetime Achievement Award referee, and I'm getting into their Hall of Fame, which is pretty thrilling. That's coming up August 19th. We're there for 3 days.
I'm going to be there too, Fonzie. I'm going to make an effort.
Oh, great.
Mm-hmm.
Great. We're going to have a nice dinner together. I can't wait for you to meet my Christine.
Oh, absolutely. That'll be a blast. I'm excited too for it.
Sam's expecting us, and he's going to have all the 420 we can possibly smoke, and he's going to probably take us out to dinner. And, I love Van Damme, and I love Katie. Oh, she's so cool.
Oh, she's awesome. Katie's awesome.
Yeah, I love Katie.
It's so cool to see them together and be happy and all that stuff.
Oh, my goodness. I'm so thrilled for Van Damme. I'm so happy. And I wanted to personally take the minute out to thank Van Damme for having the faith in me and helping me with my podcast, getting me together, giving me the push. And he's got another venture going that's going to open up pretty soon. And I'm signing up with that. And I'm thrilled that Van Damme has the faith in me and likes me well enough and thinks I can do well on my own podcast and pushing for me and being an advocate for me and helping me out, not holding my hand, just says, Fonzie, we want you to do. And, he likes me. We get along well. We did fantastic business together.
You guys did. Yep, absolutely.
So, thank Van Damme for his support.
He's a great dude.
Too. I love Katie.
Yeah, Katie and him both are great.
Guys, Daddy.
Yes. And you can actually tune in tomorrow live, 4th of July. If you want to close out your 4th of July the right way, you can tune in to RVD. Me and him going live at 9 p.m. tomorrow night. So be on the lookout for that.
I'm tuning in, Daddy. I wouldn't miss it for the world. Van Damme doesn't just talk about wrestling, but he's he's a very smart guy. He's good with his money. He's made money. He's good with his money. He's politically correct. He's not afraid to bring up topics that people are taboo. He speaks his mind. You know what I mean? And he's usually he always does a very good job at what he does.
Absolutely.
He doesn't talk about it unless he knows. He doesn't guess. He's not a guesser. I guess that it'll be all right. I guess this guy. No, Van Damme's got, he speaks the truth.
He speaks the truth. Yeah, and it's so neat. He does his RVDologies at the end of the show, so he gives like a philosophical advice. It's so fun.
Yeah.
I feel blessed to be able to do the show with him a lot.
Yeah, and he's smart, and he believes the good side. The good and bad side in life. He's on the good side, believes in the karma and all that, and it works for him. Yeah, it works for me too.
Absolutely. Did you see his A&E biography yet? Did you get a chance to watch
I was all over it. I didn't get a chance to see it yet.
It's great, Fonzie. It's great. You will really like it.
I don't have a speaking part in it, but I'm in some footage of me managing them, so I'm throwing them in the chair and doing something. Yep. I've heard I'm in it. I haven't seen it, but
you'll really like it, Fonzie, when you get a chance.
Yeah, I can't wait. In fact, I might look at it tonight.
Why not? Tune on in. It's good stuff, guys. I highly recommend. And that's what we talked about on the last episode. So, guys, if you want to tune in, check it out on rvdtv.com and give it a watch, because Rob I asked him some questions. He's got some great stories that aren't on the documentary. So be sure.
Oh, yeah. RVD's got fantastic stories. And what a tough guy, too.
Yeah.
And boy, he made my job easy when, he didn't invent a lot of stuff, but who was jumping from doing an event the coast to coast from one turnbuckle?
Yeah, Van Terminator. We talked about that, Fonzie. We went in depth about that. Him doing the Van Terminator and how nobody did that at that juncture. And I told him too. I was just a kid at the time watching ECW, and when I saw him first do it, I was like, I didn't know that's humanly possible for somebody to do.
And usually a lot of guys can't do that because Van Damme's got these thighs on him. He's naturally gifted. Plus, he works his ass off in the gym, and he excels his time. But, man, God gave him extra something, which a lot of guys, nobody was doing at the time. He does all kinds of stuff. He's in the World Book, the Guinness World Book of Records of him doing the split, holding up the
Van Damme lift. Yep.
And I'm right behind him.
You are there.
Yeah. So he holds the record. I think some guy might have broke it.
He did.
But Van Damme held it for a long time. And that's how limber Van Damme is. And he believes in stretching. So all you young, talented, future superstars of professional wrestling, take Van Damme's advice. Make sure you stretch and you warm up before your matches, or else you burn yourself out. That's what's giving him longevity. That's one of his secrets. Yeah. It's no secret. He shares it, but he believes in stretching.
Stretching,
stretch. Warm up.
That's been the whole thing of him too. Yeah, he's all about that, and and man, he still can go. Hasn't missed a beat.
Yeah, he's badass. Yeah, I've done several shows with him in the last year. We did a big show at Kellogg's Arena in Battle Creek. Sold half the building out. They just have one side sold out. We worked with Brian Cage. Had a hell of a match. We just did something recently. We had another hell of a match. We do podcasts. We do signings. We do all kinds of stuff together. We were just at WrestleMania in Philadelphia. We did a show together at the ECW Arena. I managed him at the ECW Arena. I forgot who we worked with, but he beat his ass, and we had a sensational match.
Mike Bailey. I was there for that.
Oh, yeah. Had a great 1-2, bam, bam, bam. And he hasn't missed a beat, like you said. And he's no spring chicken. Van Damme's not 21 no more.
No.
He's not 21, but
he moves like he is, though.
He still goes, and I believe what he says. His longevity is about stretching and taking care of his body and hitting the gym and warming up before these matches. A lot of guys going cold in the rip. Well, you get hurt anyway, but you preventative is what he's doing with all the stretching and stuff.
All the stretching helps out. It definitely helps out. Yeah, guys. Be sure to get your chat in. Use your super chat. Get entered into the contest to win the track jacket there, the track suit there, and just
it's beautiful Puma. Yeah,
beautiful stuff. Fonzie, so Gonzalez, he winds up wrestling a handful of matches with the Horsemen, of all people. He teamed with Paul Orndorff and the Junkyard Dog at 1990 Great American Bash against Sid, Arn Anderson, and Barry Windham. This is about as protected as one could be, wrestling with some of the best of all time in tag team scenarios. Do you think that's ultimately the best way to use Giant Gonzalez was in these kind of situations?
No. You can use them in singles. I think that was the bigger attraction in singles, but put him in the tag match made his life easier. And when everybody wrestled and they finally tagged the Giant in, boy, when the Giant stepped over that top rope, got in the ring, it's the guys he's working with, their job to put him over. Oh my God. And people fucking loved it. People loved it. They want to see their Giant get their hands on these bad guys, and he did. And thank God he had good guys to work with. You know, Double A and Barry. Who's better than those guys? Nobody. So he could go. Giant Gonzalez was very useful in a single match and as well as the tag match.
As well, yeah.
Made his life a little easier in the tag matches, but you know, he did well in his singles. Look, who's right here? WrestleMania 9 doesn't get bigger than WrestleMania 9. That doesn't. It gets bigger than WrestleMania 9, but doesn't get bigger than WrestleMania is what I meant to say.
Right, exactly. Any memories of what someone was like Arn Anderson or Barry Windham would have had to say about working with Gonzalez back at the time? Like what they thought about working
I heard no negativity because why bring up negativity? Bring up positivity just to help him. You know, if there was something negative that he did in the ring, like he did a move and fucked the move up a little bit, they would help him and correct it so we didn't have that same move happen again. You know, they'd say, hey, Giant, you know, when you threw me in and brought up the big foot, you should have brought it up a little bit higher and let me run into your foot. Don't put it out there and try to hit me with your foot. I'm going to run and take the bump. So they gave him corrective criticism in a good way. No negativity. None of those guys. They, like I said, he was charming, had a good personality, and we all wanted to see him succeed because we knew he wasn't going to be around long. We knew we had him for 3 or 4 years, and that was it. You know, so get as much as we can out of him. So everybody was on his side. And
Absolutely,
easy to like.
And that's part of the job too. They understand that's part of the job.
Thank you. Yes, part of the job. Hell yeah.
That's
no negativity.
Yeah.
And there was some of that in dressing rooms all over. In every dressing room in the country, there's, you know, animosity and this guy. Well, I should be in the main event, but not with the Giant. There's only one Giant, you know. And Andre was him, and then Andre finished it up, and it was Giant Gonzalez's turn. So, you know, everybody wanted to see him. Like nobody gave shit to Andre.
Nope.
You know.
Nobody gave shit to Andre for sure.
No, he was a seasoned veteran, been around the business for years and years and years. But, you know, even though back in the day, nobody gave him no shit.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Well, and the same with Gonzalez. They had respect because he was an athlete. He played basketball. He was a professional. He was charming. He dressed good. He this, he that. So, yeah, he got pats on the back by everybody. Everybody wanted to be around the Giant for a little while.
Yeah. Can't blame him there either.
And a great guy. What a damn good guy, man. I took him to my home. My parents, my mom had a beautiful lake house in Tampa and took him home. And my mom treated him like his own kid, you know. And we have the golf buggy. We had 10 acres of orange trees and a lake and that. And we spent a week there. We had a week off, which is very unusual for us to have. Wasn't a week, it was like 5 days or something. So we flew into Tampa. I said, Giant, you can't fly to Argentina and spend days there and then come back. We can't do it 5 days. It's just too much. So you come home with me. And then we had a ball. And he loved it. And, I was his best friend in the United States for 3 years.
That's awesome. Yeah, what a tandem. What a big help you were too. Obviously, we talked about it in certain ways too.
All kind of ways. But
so
too, you know, I was known as Giant Gonzalez handler. Hey, I got a phone call from Ted Turner. Hey, Fonzie, would you mind bringing the Giant and sitting in my seat in my press where me and Jimmy Carter would sit? You know. Not a bad gig, right?
Not a bad gig. Another big man that he wrestled against was Sid in a stretcher match in the first ever Super Brawl. And he beat Sid he got a win over the future WWE champion. Do you have any memories interacting with Psycho Sid either while his time during there or in ECW?
Yeah, Sid was cool. Sid was a little tough and he let people know it. You know what I mean? And he wasn't tough with just guys that were not as famous as or not the middle guys or job guys or middle guys. He was tough on everybody, you know. He would in fact he was a little too tough sometimes because he was not hurting people but just a little stiff, but he didn't mind getting his ass beat either. And I liked it. Him and I got along well. For some reason I get along with everybody. And that night that he worked with Giant Gonzalez, he knew he couldn't take advantage of Giant Gonzalez because of his size, and I'm not saying Sid took advantage of guys, but he sure did work hard and beat the fuck out of a lot of guys. But I kind of remember that match. We talked about it a little bit in the dressing room, and he knew Giant Gonzalez wasn't a premier worker. He knew he had to work around his disabilities. He's a fresh guy in the business. He's a new guy in the business, but they were using him. He was the Giant. So we got a lot out of it. Thanks, Sid, for doing the job for Giant Gonzalez.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, what a presence he is too, man.
Yeah, I don't remember the match. I wish I could probably Google the match and watch it.
Yeah, absolutely. I need to tune in too. First ever Super Bowl, guys. If you're interested, take a look, tune in and check it out. Hey, a crazy match I also competed in was the Chamber of Horrors match in 1991 at WCW Halloween Havoc.
Well, Halloween Havoc, I was going to say.
Yeah. And that featured some great workers like Mick Foley, Scott Hall, my favorite, the Steiners, and Abdullah the Butcher. Do you have any memories of this match and any fun stories you can share, Fonzie?
Who did he wrestle that night?
So he wrestled Abdullah the Butcher, Scott Hall when he was the Diamond Stud. He wrestled Mick Foley, the Steiners, too. The Steiner brothers were in that match, too.
Was it a big,
big cage? There's an electric chair in the middle.
And the Giant was kind of freaking out because he was locked up. He got lost for a second, but you remember everybody liked him, so everybody was talking to him, hey, do this, and we don't want him to look like an idiot out there.
Yeah.
One wrong thing, and he could look stupid. So we didn't want that to happen, so everybody was on the side, and of course, Abdullah was Abdullah. He's for Abdullah, but he's a little finicky, he's a little temperamental, been around a long time. He thinks he's Abdullah the Butcher, which he is. He believes he should be,
he's living.
Anybody can get beat,
yeah,
and still survive. Look at Sandman. I don't think he won a match in 1998 the whole year. They used to beat him 1, 2, 3 all the time. Didn't matter. His gimmick, he got over, walked out, his music, his intro, his beer can, his cigarette smoking, cane swinging freak. It didn't matter if he won or lost, but to Abdullah, it did matter.
Yeah.
And that was the only one that may have given him a little bit of shit, but I don't think he did. I think it was just maybe my mind, but he got by. We were on that Halloween Havoc and got by and continued to work,
Didn't he? I know. What a crazy match. I remember renting that video when I was a kid and watching it. I'm like, what the heck is this? And I was intrigued because Scott Hall was in it. And I was like, I didn't know he was this guy, the Diamond Stud. But it was like, you see Abdullah in there. You see Mick Foley in there.
But look at all the characters, man. Yeah. If you tune in, look, Mick Foley, the Steiner brothers were amazing.
Yeah.
Abdullah the Butcher, the tallest athlete on the planet, Giant Gonzalez. And it was crazy. You tune in and you say, what the hell? And Mick Foley's all gimmicked up. You know what I mean, man? Wow. Crazy night. And Halloween Havoc and Halloween. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just craziness. Any memories of Giant Gonzalez having singles matches with Vader or Cactus Jack?
Not specifically that something that come into mind, but again, I'm preaching about everybody wanted to have them succeed, and if you can have a match with them and make them look good and still get yourself over to a certain degree, Cactus didn't want him to go out there and he beat the fuck out of Cactus Jack for 10 minutes and then pin him 1, 2, 3. What kind of thing is that? So, and the Giant, God bless him, he's so awkward. I told you he wasn't a natural in the ring, so it was hard for him to sell. Say Vader hit him with a fucking punch, and I can see him sell awkwardly. It wasn't the prettiest sell, but he worked around his disabilities, his non-knowledge in the ring. So they did stuff that he could do. Very rarely that they asked him to do stuff that he couldn't do, but every once in a while something would happen, and but everybody worked around him.
Yeah, they make it work. It's you deal. I mean, look at all the different wrestlers that come into play.
Right.
You don't have that athleticism or that ability in the ring, but they have such a look or a presence or even a personality that gets them over, and you have to try to make the most of it. And then you get good workers like an Arn Anderson or a Mick Foley or a Barry.
Right. And what Giant Gonzalez had on his side, he was the tallest athlete on the planet.
Right.
You know, and he stuck out, man. When you see him coming, people are just amazed at him. I was amazed. I was with him for 3 years every day, didn't leave his side. I think he went home 2 times in 3 years to Argentina. He was gone like 2 weeks, and he was gone almost a month. That was only 2 times. He left my side in 3 years. And every day when we would wake up and be downstairs for breakfast at the Marriott, I was amazed at looking at this guy. I said, man, this guy's a God's gift, a God's creation. He looks like a fucking redwood tree.
Right.
Until you actually see a redwood tree, you don't know how big a redwood tree. You see him in magazines. You see that famous picture of a car. They got a car driving through.
Yeah.
They made a tunnel out of the redwood tree and a car driving through it. That's amazing. But to see it in person, it's a different story. To see Giant Gonzalez in person is amazing. You're probably never going to see anybody like him in your life.
Right? No.
Somebody. There's several tall people, but you don't see them.
I know, an absolute rarity, you know. At this time too, he was only about in his mid-20s, and like being obviously starting off in the business and everything like that. What did you think at that time he thought of the wrestling business, and did he overall you think have positive memories of the business at this point in time in WCW?
You talking about Giant Gonzalez?
Yeah, Giant Gonzalez.
I think he had a fabulous time. He didn't know too much about wrestling. When they brought him over to play for the Hawks, and they said, hey, you can't pass an NBA inspection, but we have the wrestling company. He said, what's wrestling? And then they introduced him to the school and tried to train him and so on, until he got into the dressing room and started meeting Flair and Sting and this guy and Steiners and Dusty and this guy, and going to these big buildings and sell out, and the people and the attention he was getting, and how much we cared about him. And Ted Turner, he was amazed. He had nothing but great memories of wrestling. You know, he thought he was a star in basketball. He was an even bigger star in the United States.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Yeah. What a
Because
present.
everybody's tall in basketball, and everybody's not, 8 foot tall.
Right.
But he's really 7'7".
Yeah. That's still like, holy smokes. I met Kevin Nash a couple times and everything, and he was humongous. You know, he's so tall. But even thinking about like Giant Gonzalez compared to him, that's even. Oh my gosh!
Can you look up real quick how tall is Hulk Hogan?
Yeah, let me look. I think he's 6'6" or 6'7", if I remember. Let me take.
Yeah. Okay. About that.
Hulk Hogan height. Let's see here. 6'7". They list him here on Wikipedia. So take that.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a close up of this picture again.
Yes.
And look at the size difference.
Look at that. Look at that. Geez, look how big he is.
Hulk Hogan's huge in the wrestling business. There's not a lot of 6'7" guys.
No,
But
and Fonzie, you're 5'9", right? You said?
Yeah, approximately. But look how towering Giant Gonzalez is. He had a 22 shoe.
Oh my God.
He was big, and he wasn't misproportioned. He wasn't out of proportion. So his body fit him. That's why the women were attracted to him. They wanted to see him naked or something because he was well proportioned. It's not like his head was bigger than his neck, or he was well proportioned. His arms, he looked normal, but he was a giant. He looked normal.
Yeah. How about that? And like,
yeah, saw him in this picture. Take Hogan away and Fonzie away. You just saw him in a picture. You don't realize, until you see this guy in person.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I was amazed every morning. I said, wow, God's gift. God gave us this kid,
Yes. Yeah.
Took him away early. I think he died at 47.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But we'll talk about that on the next episode, some of that stuff. But
okay.
You said in previous interviews that Jim Herd being brought in to run WCW ultimately led to yours and Gonzalez's departure, and that he wanted to significantly cut your pay. At the time, you pitched potentially going to Japan as a route that the Giant could take. Do you know if anyone else like a Mick Foley or Abdul the Butcher had that conversation and gave the Giant some advice? Yeah, was there anything? Do you remember any of that talk about Jim Herd and going over to Japan?
Well, of course I do, because I remember a lot of guys talking to him. Everybody was scrambling to take care of themselves, because Jim Herd wanted to cut everybody's pay, not just mine, not just Giant Gonzalez. He wanted to cut this guy's pay, because we were, in his mind, we were getting overpaid for dollar. Say we were bringing in $50 million a year, but we were spending $70 million to make the 50, so it didn't make sense. You wanted to try to even it out and now fly first class. And just cut the budget, and that's where Giant came to me and asked me for advice. He didn't ask Sting. He didn't ask Abdullah Butcher. He didn't ask anybody. I had been in the business years and years already, and it was worked under Dusty. And he knew how Dusty liked me, and I was in the office to a certain extent. He said, Fonzie, what do we do? He said, I don't want to take a pay cut. I said, me either. And he said, what are our options? I said, well, our options are, Giant. I said, you can go back to Europe and play European basketball. I don't know how much money you were making there, but you're not going to make like you're making here. He's making mid six figures, pretty good, big numbers. Or you could go to Japan because they like you in Japan. You could probably go there 3 or 4 months out of the year, 2 weeks here, a month there, 10 days here, 5 days, and make a living that way. Or you could possibly go to WWF. He says, Fonzie, do you know anybody in WWF? I said, yeah, I know J.J. Dillon. I worked with him. He was Dusty's assistant booker. Now he's assistant booker and Vince McMahon's right-hand man at that time. And he said, well, I said, well, let me call J.J. and see if they're interested first. So I did. I called J.J. Dillon. And just so happened that week, once we got the word that Jim Herd wanted us, we had a meeting in his office. Jim Herd, we wanted to take a pay cut and so on. So the Giant had a spur in his heel, and he had to have it cut out. It wasn't bad at all. It was a common thing. We get them, it was a little spur. He had to have Lance and cut out, so it was going to be off for 5 or 6 days, healing, and then he could go back to work. So all this came about the time he had to have his heel lance for the spur in there. So we had that done. We're at my mom's house on Lake Juanita in Tampa, the orange trees and the golf buggy, and we loved it. We were having a ball, and he was healing up just fine. He said, Fonzie, I want you to call WWF. I said, okay, let me try. No promises I can get through, so I called, Titan Towers in Stamford. You can see it on I-95 on the side of the road right there, big office. So I called the office, and the lady answered the phone. How can I help you? I said, yeah, my name's Bill Alfonso. I'm trying to speak with J.J. Dillon. Hold on, please. So I was expecting, well, he's busy. Can you leave your number and call you back? 30 seconds later, the phone clicks. Hey, Fonzie. Hey, how you doing? Oh, my God, Fonzie, how's everything? What can I do for you, Fonzie? And I explained the situation. I said, look, Jim Herd, to take a pay cut. Our options are go play basketball in Europe, go to Japan, or we'd call to see if Vince McMahon would be interested in Giant Gonzalez. And JJ was pretty blunt and pretty bold and said, well, Fonzie, I'll talk to Vince. I'll run it by him, and I'll get back with you if anything happens. I said, okay, thank you so much, JJ. It was great talking to you. Thanks for taking my phone call right away. I haven't talked to you in a couple of years. I worked with JJ in Florida.
Yeah.
He was Dusty's right-hand man, and I was Dusty's left-hand man. So I worked with JJ like this every day for freaking years, 7 days a week. Thank you, JJ. So I hung up the phone, and I said, well, Giant, he's going to run it by Vince, and if they're interested, they'll give us a call. And we weren't let down because we were enjoying our time off. Plus, we was making $500,000 a year. We were living like fucking rock stars.
Right.
We're at my parents' house, driving golf buggies, having a good time, enjoying a little time off. We're worried about Jim Herd next week when we go back to work.
Right.
Figure it out. So we were let down because of JJ. We'll call you. I said, okay, shit.
Yeah.
10 minutes later, the phone rings. It's JJ. Hey, Fonzie, Vince is interested he wants to know when can you guys come up and have a meeting. I said, well, we just had a little spur cut out. We're off. We're at my parents' house. We can come at any time. He said, how about tomorrow? JJ says. I said, that'll be, Giant, what do you think? Oh, yeah, no problem. I said, you have to fly him first class because he's big. He can't fit. And just no, he flew us both first class. So he said, I'll have the travel people call you and get the information, and we'll have somebody pick you up at the airport. We'll see you tomorrow. So, so so I explained to JJ, I said, look, I'm his personal assistant, plus I referee, so it's a package deal. So if you take Giant Gonzalez, you can take him, but I'm a package. I take care of him, plus I'm a referee. You know that, JJ. And if you don't take me, that's okay too, but, we're a package.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, Fonzie. I understand. So he flew us both up, and a big limousine picked us up at the Hartford or Stanford, wherever the fuck it was.
Yep.
And instead of going to the wrestling office, we go to Vince's house.
Whoa.
That's pretty cool. So we go to his house, and JJ's there. Vince isn't there yet. So JJ introduced himself to Giant, and he said, oh, Vince is running a little late. He'll be here shortly. But, they had a tray of food and all kind of stuff for the Giant, and we were talking. And so in comes Vince in his green fucking suit, or orange suit. He's walks in, and Giant Gonzalez, he was quite impressed. And he said, I know who you are. You're the referee, and I know who you are. You're he called me active or hype or something. He called me energetic or something.
Yeah.
Energetic or whatever. It was a good comment. It wasn't a bad negative. So we explained to him, which JJ already explained to him, and said, look, Jim Hurd was taking some pay cut, and Giant Vince says, well, I'm interested, and you too, Fonzie. And Giant Gonzalez tells Vince, well, I got to go back to WCW because they still owe me my check. It's $60,000. He said, because we get checks, they give it to you at the TV.
Yeah,
get a check every 2 weeks, bi-weekly, you get a check. His was 60 grand bi-weekly, 30 grand a week. That's not bad money, right?
Pretty good. That's pretty good.
So Vince tells Giant, said, don't even go back there. Fuck WCW. JJ, write him a check for $60,000. We'll consider that his signing bonus. And he said, you're going to make way more money than you. Way. I can hear Vince say that. You're going to way more money. And so JJ wrote Giant Gonzalez a check for 60 grand, and he gave it to him as a signing bonus. Don't go back to WCW. So we're thrilled. We got a job. Not me yet. And I'm a package deal. And Vince says, I didn't say, hey, I'm a package deal. You have to take me, or, And he said, Fonzie? Oh, Giant Gonzalez tells Vince, he says, Vince, this was towards the end of the year. It's like a month before Christmas or something. And Giant Gonzalez tells Vince, I haven't been home in 9 months. Do you mind if I go home for the rest of the month and I start next year in January sometime? So that's a great idea because they give me time to come up with your gimmick and your outfit and think of the program and this and that. And he turns to me, he says, Fonzie, do you want to take the month off too? And I said, no, sir. I said, I'd rather go to work. That way I'm familiar with your company. And so when he comes back, I'm already set in. And he says, JJ, put him on to work right away. So JJ got a booking sheet. Now they were running 2 or 3 towns a night, the same night. Like on Wednesday night, you could be in California. The other B crew would be in San Francisco. The other crew would be in Chicago. You run to 3 different towns or 2 different towns. There's so many, So Vince says, JJ, put him, add him on. So JJ pulls out 3 booking sheets, 3 different, and looks at him and starts writing me down. Says, starts giving me a schedule for the month.
Yeah.
You're booked out 2-3 months in advance. You know where you're at for 3 months.
Right.
So JJ writes me a long list of the towns, and then the travel's going to get with me and send me my tickets and all that. And Vince is so smart. Instead of him going to a travel agency, he bought his own travel agent.
That's awesome.
Travel agent inside of his company. Why pay them when he can pay his own travel agent?
Right.
Makes sense. So JJ starts writing stuff down. Monday you're here, Tuesday you're here, Wednesday you're there. This is where I changed the dress code in WWF. So he writes this and that, and I look at it. I said, JJ, I recognize all those places, but where's MSG? What's MSG? I didn't know.
Yeah.
He said, Fonzie, that's Madison Square Gardens. I said, oh my God, what's the most famous arena on the planet?
Oh, it's Madison Square Garden. W just
no, not Boston Gardens, not Toronto Maple Leaf, not the Cow Palace in California, not Tokyo. No, Madison Square Garden, most famous. So I was thrilled to go there. So I get my booking sheet. Giant Gonzalez, they take us back to the airport. We fly home the same day. We're back at home. We're thrilled. We got a job. Giant got a $60,000 signing bonus, and he's going home for the month. He's fucking happy as fuck. I'm going to start work in 10 days. I'm going to go back on the road. And my first week I'm in Madison Square Gardens. So, and I would dress nice because if I don't dress nice, if I wear a pair of jeans, a nice polo shirt, and a pair of nice Nikes, I look like the fucking audience when I walk in the back door at a venue. You know what I mean? I gotta dress like somebody. So I bought, I had a Submariner Rolex. I wore suits all the time. I had really nice luggage. I look like somebody. If you didn't know I was he's somebody. We don't know who he is, but so they got me in so. My first week, I'm in Madison Square Garden, so I dressed nice. I got a fucking $1,000 suit on. I got a Submariner. I got Louis. In fact, here's the luggage right here. I still have it. I walk in with this, and the briefcase and shit. You know what I mean? And I look like $1 million. And you get there at 5 o'clock because the matches started at 8. You're there. Vince wants everybody there 2 hours before the show starts. So usually there's a bunch of guys in the ring working out and talking about their matches and this and that. And there was Vince at ringside. So Vince sees me walk in. And back then, all the referees were wearing remember the Zubas?
Oh, yeah, the Zubas.
The pants, the Zubas, they were wearing Zubas, and the Hebners and Mike Yoda and all those guys are all wearing Zubas and T-shirts and the WWF hat and stuff. It looked good, but so I walk in looking like $1 million with a suit and a beautiful watch and a luggage. My haircut's perfect. I'm beautiful. And Vince called me, Fonzie, come over here. He called all the referees, all the ring guys, all the underneath talent. Not Shawn Michaels and those guys, the smaller guys like me and all the referees. And he said, Fonzie, you look great. He said, everybody see how Fonzie's dressed? From now on, from this day on, anytime we run a big show like Madison Square or any big sold out big thing, a pay-per-view, Monday Night Raw, anything. I was on the first Monday Night Raw, by the way. So he says, I want everybody to dress like Fonzie is right now. So now the referees can't wear Zubas no more. The Hebners were pissed off. Fonzie, why you got to dress like that? Because this is how I dress, know. I don't want to look like the fucking audience. Yeah. And so they were all mad at me for a minute because they all had to go out and dress nice.
Good, nice stuff.
So I changed the dress code in my first week in WWF.
How about that, man?
Yeah.
You're a game changer, Fonzie. You're a game changer, all right.
Something.
Yeah.
I'm in Madison Square Gardens my first time because WCW didn't run there. They couldn't. They were contracted to Vince. Yeah. I've never been there, but I've heard of Madison Square Garden since I was a little boy. Yeah. The Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, and all that. Yeah. The basketball team and so on. So.
Yeah. Nixon, Bruno, all that.
So I started. Yes, Bruno. So I started with Vince, and did the month why Giant Gonzalez was in Argentina visiting with his family. First time he's been home in 9 months, and I was getting the hang of it and all that. So when he came in, we were on ready to roll.
Ready to roll.
Yep. And so we were there. We came in right after WrestleMania 8. So we missed 8. We came in right after 8. And then we did 9, and we left before 10. So I was almost there 3 years, but I came in right after 8. I did 9, and I left right before 10. So right before 10. I was there for a while, and then I was off for a minute and went to ECW.
ECW, and the rest is history there. But we'll cover Giant Gonzalez and you in the WWF next episode of the.
Yeah, let's wrap this up, Daddy, because we've been talking. Let me see. Damn, an hour and 42 minutes.
How about it, huh?
Time goes by quick, and I'm enjoying myself. Hey, I hope you guys are enjoying these stories. Yeah. I'm having fun telling them. And you guys, please send in questions. Please enter to win my stuff.
Enter to win
the tracksuit, man. I'm really digging this, and I hope I get good feedback, and I'm not boring you fucking guys with old stories about, I'm talking about me a lot, but.
Hey, this is your show, though, Fawn. That's it.
Okay, Daddy.
So you're good to go. Guys, what you can do, too, if you missed this episode, you're tuning in later on, what you can do, if you do a super chat, anytime you see me on the screen, when it comes to One True Sport or anything like that, you're automatically entered to win the contest for Fonzie. So so keep that in mind, and I'll send some reminders to you throughout when I'm live on One True Sport or doing other things like that. So send the reminders. If you submit a super chat, that'll go to Fonzie and I on the podcast, but it will also enter you to win the track.
Yes, and the tracksuit is not the only thing we'll be giving away.
There's going to be giveaways.
Hey, can I tell you something about what we're going to be talking in the future?
Sure.
This is a replica. This is not Harley Race's belt. This is not the one I'm holding up and holding Harley Race's hand up. That's the real one. But somebody made this for Harley Race. You can get them now. You can order them on the internet. But this belt's 25, 30 years, or whatever, however long I've had it. Somebody presented it to Harley Race at this big fundraiser, and Harley didn't want, and Harley took it and said, "Oh, thank you so much." And as soon as we got in the car, he said, "Here, take this. This is for you, Fonzie." So Harley Race gave me this. So that's a pretty cool story. And, here's a picture of me holding it up. This is what Jack Briscoe had, Dory Funk, Terry Funk, Ric Flair. Then they made the new one for him. But this is a replica, not the real McCoy. If it was, it'd be worth the big, big money. But you could buy this. If you had 10 grand, you could buy this from me for 10 grand. Why? Because Harley Race gave it to me.
Yeah.
I find that very flattering, and I work with Harley and all these superstars. So so I'm saying is, I hope you guys don't get bored with my stories like that. And my stories about Hulk Hogan, my stories about Van Dam. We were in the High Times magazine, championship pot smokers, Daddy. Let me see. Can you see that?
Let's see here. I'll zoom that in. Oh yeah. That's what a great cover that is. That's so awesome. We're inside, right?
Framed up, and we're giving stuff like this away.
Look at that.
I'll be telling stories about how we do that, where we do the shoot at, and there's 5 people who decide who's going to be on the cover, and it was between Van Dam, Fonzie, and Sabu on the cover, or Ozzy Osbourne.
Wow.
And so 3 voted Ozzy and 2 voted Van Dam, but they gave us a 3-page spread centerfold. So that's another story about, they gave us each an ounce of pod. The High Times magazine is going to give you a really good pod. And we shot the thing in Philadelphia, the shoot and stuff. So we got some pretty cool stories to cover. You can look at any picture, and we can do a whole podcast about Revere Steakhouse in Japan. And ECW went over and did a show at Corrigan Hall and sold it out in Japan. And we all went to Revere Steakhouse, and they give all the Americans the jackets. So we all got the jackets on. We all had a great steak dinner, and there's the franchise Fonzie, Sabu, Tommy Dreamer, and the two Dudley boys. So we can talk about stories like that. We can talk about this. Dr. Death, Steve Williams,
Oh man,
Terry Funk, and
Terry
Fonzie.
Funk.
All of us are bleeding
Yeah.
to the ECW arena. Why are we bleeding? That's another story. So anyway, there's Dusty. I got stories about Dusty where I sucker punched Dusty, and all kind of cool stories. They just interesting to the wrestling fans. So I hope my whole point is I hope you guys can enjoy, and I'm gonna keep doing these till you guys boot me off the air.
We'll keep on cooking, Fonzie, for sure. We'll close it out with this question that Liam Evans asked earlier on the show with the super chat. He said, "What did Giant Gonzalez typically eat in a day?"
Damn, we'd eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner because he had to feed that body. That body took a lot of energy, to carry around that big. He weighed 400 pounds.
Yeah.
Wasn't a tall, skinny kid. He was big, so it took a lot of energy. He'd eat a dozen eggs, dozen scrambled eggs, 8 or 9 pieces of bacon. Now he couldn't eat too much because we didn't want to get him fat,
Yeah.
And we worked out minimum. You're on the road 7 days a week. You barely got time to go to the gym. So your life is traveling, airports, hotels, the arena, and the gym.
Mm-hmm.
Typically what he ate was specifically a dozen eggs scrambled, like them scrambled. I don't know what 8 or 9 pieces of bacon are, half a pound or something, 8 or 9 pieces of bacon, a couple of hash browns, and some toast, like this bread, and 2-3 cups of coffee. For lunch, we would say we did a McDonald's. He'd eat 2 3/4 pounders. Now, you would think that's a pretty good amount of food.
Yeah.
And then at night, you remember the show started at 8 o'clock, so we can't go to dinner at 7 o'clock, and we have to be at the arena at 6:30 or something. So we have to scramble for dinner.
Right.
Wherever what's open after 11 o'clock. If you're lucky, the Waffle House, Denny's, a couple of steak places might be open. Some stuff like that. So we'd have to scramble. But he'd order a couple of steaks, a couple of big New York strip. He liked the no fat on them, so the New York strip was pretty good for him. A couple of baked potatoes. He ate probably 2 to 3 times a normal man would eat.
My goodness.
The normal man. Say me and you, Dominic, and the person who asked, what was the kid's name who asked the question?
That was Liam Evans.
Okay, Liam Evans. You would go to a steakhouse, say Outback. You go to Outback, you'd order the ribeye, a baked potato, the salad, a soup, and a drink. He'd order 2 steaks, 2 baked potatoes, a bigger salad, and a lot of water. So he 2 or 3 times the normal amount. But, a dozen eggs, I'll never forget it. And we used to get funny looks. But they expected you walk in with a guy that's a giant, you expect him to order big. So when he said, I have 12 scrambled eggs, the lady said, oh my God, 12 eggs. She said, oh, 12 eggs, scrambled, okay. She was amazed taking his order. They can't take their eyes off him.
Right.
She's walking like this, looking at it. People couldn't take their eyes off him. And not that he was a freak or ugly. It was just usual size.
He's just he's a big dude. It's you're gonna definitely catch eyes on it for sure.
All right, one more question. You said you had 2.
No, that was it. That was the only one that we had.
All right, you guys send in some questions. I want you guys to answer.
Yeah, pop in some questions. We'll be sure to get
a lot of stuff, but we got a ton of stuff to talk about.
So, guys,
like Kevin Sullivan getting choked by Wahoo McDaniel. We did a match. It was Wahoo McDaniel against Sergeant Slaughter in Greensboro, North Carolina, and the finish was. We can talk about this on one of our podcasts. The finish was that Sergeant Slaughter's the bad guy and Wahoo's the big baby face, and he was. They loved him. So the finish was Sergeant Slaughter rose out of the ring, grabs the belt, whatever belt it was, the heavyweight Carolina title or whatever, comes in with it. He's coming into the ring with it. Wahoo kicks him, grabs the belt. Now, I'm behind Sergeant Slaughter. So the finish is Wahoo kicks him, grabs the belt, goes to hit Slaughter. Slaughter moves, he hits the referee, me, and I disqualify him for hitting me. But, so Slaughter wins on the disqualification, but nobody gets pinned and so on and so on. So Slaughter was so big and I'm small, so Wahoo could not see me. I'm standing behind Sergeant Slaughter. So when Slaughter moved, here comes the belt, bam, and he hits me with this part of the belt, not this part like this.
Yeah.
This part, like a knife.
Oh.
Right here, bam, knocks me out, concussion. Then they rushed me to the hospital. And if you can see this, you probably can't. I end up getting 42 stitches and staples. And this is what you do not want to hear. This is a story for a future podcast. This is what you don't want to hear. When the paramedics were trying to stop the blood and shit, and I said, hey, paramedic, is it bad? He says, oh, you don't want to hear this one. Oh, well, it's not too bad. Don't worry. It's going to be fine. You don't want to hear, oh, my God, it's fucking here. You don't want to hear that.
Yeah.
So that's another story. So we can talk about Wahoo and all. We can just keep going. We got stories up the ass, all wrestling related.
All wrestling related.
Yeah, we may spin off and talk about George Foreman. I met George Foreman, or some famous people that I met. I met George Foreman. We were in Las Vegas, and I put him over, and I said, oh, my mom loves your George Foreman grill.
Yeah.
He said, Fonzie, give my assistant your address. He sent my mom every George Foreman grill they had.
What?
Nice guy. I met, famous singer. Famous singer. I can't think of his name, but black man, one of the most famous singers on the planet.
Wow.
And I was with a girl, and I said, oh, when I want to get with my girl, I'll put your music on and feed her a martini. Boy, and we get it on. And he got embarrassed and shit. And he said, anytime you guys want to come see me. So I had backstage passes anywhere in the world that he was playing at. He said, you gave me a number to his assistant, and I could call him. And I did. I went to 2 concerts. I can't think of his name. I got brain fog right now. But a big name, I'll think of it for the next 5 years.
Text it to
I
me.
met a lot of cool people. Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Donald Trump, met him at Madison Square. All just kind of cool people, man.
Holy shit. We got a lot to talk about then. We got a lot.
Yeah, we have more than wrestling to talk about.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great.
Mostly wrestling, because that's what I'm good at. That's what I've done for 44 years.
And this has been a great episode, guys. So if you like what you're seeing, be sure to subscribe to OneTrueSportTV.com, subscribe to RVDTV.com. That helps out the show. It helps out Fonzie, helps out me, and it gets the word out about the channel and stuff like that. And if you're interested, if you're on OneTrueSportTV.com and you want more content, more exclusive content, hit the join button. Check out the tiers that we got: $7.99, $24.99, and then $39.99, and we give you extra added content that you guys will like to see, and you get your bang for your buck. Liam Evans is a member. We have Eddie Prather in here, and then a whole bunch of a great.
A lot of new members coming up, and then I'm going to be a member, and I'll be teaching you how to get abs. I don't have an ounce
Look at the abs.
Eddie, had an ounce of fat on me.
Fonzie, you look great, man. You look great.
Thanks, Daddy.
You're welcome. And guys, this has been a great episode. Be sure to tune in. Be sure to follow Fonzie at Alfonso Bill on Twitter. And then it's Fonzie Bill Alfonso on
Bill Fonzie Alfonso on everything else.
On everything else. So be sure to give him a follow. Fonzie, this has been a fun episode. I can't wait to do it again. Yes. We'll have to work out a time. I'm in a play right now, so I'll have play rehearsals coming up and stuff like that. But we'll try to work out a time and figure out a day when we're going to do it again. Hopefully, we'll do it in 2 weeks, but keep your eyes peeled on OneTrueSportTV.com.
Maybe we're going to do it in Las Vegas. I'm out there for
We're definitely going to do it in Las Vegas. No doubt about it.
My Lifetime Achievement Award.
Absolutely. I'm going to be pumped for that, Fonzie. That's going to be a great time. So This was a great time, guys. So thanks again for tuning in here on Right Down the Middle, Daddy, with Bill Alfonso. Bill
It's
Fonzie.
Bill Alfonso saying so long from the Sunshine State.
Yeah, all right. See you guys next time.